classic man. Calling on me like a young OG, I'm a classic man. Your knees getting met by the pre-elegant old-fashioned man. Yeah, baby, I'm a classic man, man.
University of Man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get ready. University of Man is in the house. What's happening? My name is Ivery L. Lewis, and I got my compadre, my best friend. This dude, he held me down in college, Mr. Fred Abernathy. No middle name. I'm just saying, it is what it is.
Hey, man.
In the house.
What's up, man? Welcome to University of Man. Two brothers talking about manhood from a Christian perspective. Yep, best friends. I don't even call him my best friend. That's my brother from another mother. Yeah. We get down like that. Holding me down since college is crazy, dude. Dude, do you recognize that, man? We've been out of school.
Hey, be easy.
Dude, but I still remember it like it was yesterday, bro. Like, it's crazy. But, hey, check it. I know we talked about the NBA Finals. Hey,
but when you hear this,
and the Boston is doing their thing. But here's the most impressive thing to me, and I don't think most people know this. Jaylen Brown is a very, very intelligent man. He is the youngest person to ever deliver a lecture at Harvard University, and I think we gloss over that so much that because of his basketball skill, this dude is Ivy League trained and educated. I mean, you talking about he played multiple instruments. He's the ultimate student athlete from that got to the next level. And when he's done playing basketball, he's probably going to make more money in the private sector off of his intellect than his actual. I mean, maybe not more money, but he's going to make a lot of money out of the private sector.
I'll say it like this. The man he turned down a NASA internship. He went to Cal. The reason why he went to Cal was, I forgot, but he was supposed to go to an Ivy League school like you talked about. Shout out to the Cal Bears, my sister-in-law, Millie. Yeah, she'd hurt me with that. But that was where it's at, man. And then he came out, he went to the league, and yeah, he is brilliant. But the reason why I'm really rooting for the Celtics, and look, I'm in LA, and Los Angeles Lakers don't root for Celtics, but
they don't.
Man, he be putting people to shame. It was like, did you get a chance to meet the royal family? If you didn't get a chance to meet them, how does it make you feel for them to be in the house? He was like, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. And they're like, no, we're talking about Prince Harry. And yeah, I didn't get a chance to meet them, but that's the only real royal family to me. I was like, what? And then he bangs on people for Christianity. It's beautiful, man. So that's one of the real reasons why I'm going for the Celtics. Obviously, if you hear this, they are up 3-0 as of today. They play tomorrow, and it is what it is. So,
hey, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I heard a post on Instagram about my man Tim Tebow.
Okay.
Tim Tebow, when he was at Florida, the first 14 games, y'all call it the blackout under your eyes.
Yeah.
He used to have Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Then it got to I think it was the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. And his coach, who was his coach at the time?
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer was very superstitious. He was like, yeah, if you wore long socks and we won, your socks just got longer. He didn't want nothing to change, anything. But Tebow was like, man, I want to change the scripture. So he literally had to go to Urban Meyer after practice and say, look, I'm looking to change it. And he's like, well, no, you can't change the scripture.
Right.
4:13 is what's got us here. He's like, nah. And he explained it to him that John 3:16 was like the ultimate Christianity scripture. Yeah. So he allowed him to change it. And over like 46 million people were Googling that scripture. And Tim Tebow was like, man, I didn't know that many people didn't know the scripture John 3:16. However, He then 3 years later is in the NFL playing in the playoff game versus the Steelers.
Yeah.
And he's wearing John 3:16. And 92 million people Googled John 3:16 and it was trending. They won the game. I think that was the play that he threw a long bomb at the end of the game and they won it. But 3 years later to the date where he changed that scripture, he threw for 316 yards. He averaged 31.6 yards per pass. He ran for 31.6 yards a carry. Everything that was in his stat line was 316.
Yeah.
3 years later.
Yeah.
That to me is amazing. Like,
it's a miracle. Go ahead and call it for what it is because Tim Tebow should not have been in the league. He should not have been a quarterback, and for sure shouldn't have been throwing for 316 yards. I'm just saying. Just throw it out there. Not in a playoff game. But miracle. With that being said, God gave him that platform to put him up there. So
absolutely. So, and then when I think about the rise and fall of a Tim Tebow just in the NFL, he had like a good 3-4 years where everybody was talking about. He was on T-Mobile commercials, everything. So, I told y'all about the book. Boundaries of Principal Weapons of Engaging in Intellectual Conversations. Yep. My cousin Calandro Robinson, shout out to him. But in chapter 4, it says, all men fail at some point in life, but the great ones get back up. The great ones get back up. So I believe personally, and if y'all heard doing the show, Ivery is a great man. So tell me, Ivery, because a lot of people don't really we talk about the fact that you played football before and what that looked like. So at his wedding, I was able to give the speech, but it was more like an introduction because I always believe this brother needed to have a great introduction. Yep, it was one of those classic speeches, but we're talking about a dude from Danville, Illinois. I know none of y'all know where Danville lives. That's big. Danville's big. The downtown of Danville is literally one block long. So, like, Danville, Illinois, downstate Illinois, goes to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. You guys heard of Simeon Rice and who was the linebacker?
Kevin Hardy.
Kevin
Bill Jaguars.
Yeah, the Hardy. Kevin Hardy and Rice are like seniors, big men on campus. And Ivory, as a freshman, was terrorizing these dudes in practice.
Whoa. Listen, let's keep this easy. They might hear this one day. No,
they can hear it. They know he was terrorizing them in practice. And not that they tried to hurt him, but you a senior and this freshman is making y'all look bad. They put a hit on him and messed his leg up. He was on crutches for a little bit, walking around campus. But
hey, flashback. Remember when we were going to something and it was a basketball player that was on crutches too, and we were so competitive, we raced down the street with crutches? It was real. It was real. I don't know why I did that, but we could have
just real.
I beat her.
But at the end of his college career, and I tell people this all the time, he is a trivia question. He scored the last touchdown of the millennium for the Illini in the Micron PC Bowl, January 2000. Yes, he did. Blocked a punt in the Penn State game. Like, he came back from what happened. Then after college, this dude got into, 2003 Mitsubishi Galant?
The Mitsubishi Galant, baby.
And drove across the country. Yeah. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, man, I got to go to Texas. I'm about to, work out. Still chasing my dream to be in the league. Man, chase your dream, brother. End up playing for a semi-pro team. Yeah. The Fire. Was that in LA?
LA Inferno.
The LA Inferno. I knew it had something to do with fire. The LA Inferno. Played for a semi-pro team. Worked his way up. He was working out at USC, UCLA, all the college campuses working out. Got to try out for the San Diego Chargers. 2 people from the league and was beat out by a Hall of Fame running back, LaDainian Thompson. And look, if you're going to get beat out, like LT is the guy that you got to, okay, okay, he that dude. But when I look at that situation and you chasing that dream of football, and we got a lot of young men. It's a young man I know right now. All he's known is he's been playing football since he was 8 years old. Got injured last season in high school. Still went to college. Had the scholarship. Shoulder kept popping out. Doesn't have football anymore. How could you, as that guy, you was that kid. I mean, the field across from his house in Danville was like 3 football fields long. Mama used to make him run around that field.
Mama,
man, how do you come back from a lifelong dream that you were chasing and now didn't make it to now one of the top financial planners in LA? He's got agents all across the country. He's been on stages talking in front of thousands. He's training people every week on how to be a financial advisor and do it the right way with integrity and helping people out. How do you come back from a situation like that?
You put me on the spot, Fred. So I'll be honest. And I'll say that there were moments that were dark. They were frustrating. There were moments that you did not necessarily want to get up and do what you were supposed to do. But at the time, I also had my son, Ivery Jr. So there was a little bit of momentum and focus to where he's got my name. So I want to make sure that he has something to look up to. And even though I didn't want to run at 5:30 in the morning, I was running at 5:30 in the morning. And all I could do was think about him. All I could do was think about what footsteps do I want my son to follow, right? When I didn't make it to the league, when I gave, I believe, my last gasp, it was just, I was done. It was tough because you're looking at somebody that has been, for a majority of his life, hitting other people for what I wanted to be a living. And there was no outlet like that ever again. And, you know, I play basketball, but playing basketball like football, you lose friends quick. So shout out to my guys that play basketball with me. They actually took me in, showed me how to play. Fred tried, but he didn't do good in college. And I eventually started not hurting people. And, you know, now I'm like, you okay? Like I put my hands up like, you're all right. My bad. That was on me. But you don't know until you don't know. So being able to have an outlet, which is either working out or something like that, you've got to make sure that you have that. Though for the ex-athletes, please take heed with that because it's tough. And then 2, finding a passion. And I kind of lucked out, got with the right individuals, and they taught me how to, you know, work within. And then, ironically, my passion ran out in the industry because I was chasing money. So I ran back to the church, and then I started chasing my passion. And when you chase your passion, money chases after you. So I think that is the overall edited version of the story with a couple of things that are left out. But I met my amazing wife who I had prayed for when I was 11. And God, when you pray for stuff, God can give it to you and you don't even know it. And then you like, dang, God even hooked it up even more. So I got a whole lot of good stuff on my side. So first things first, in every adversity is a seed of greatness, if and only if you look for it. So within my seed of adversity of not being able to make it to the NFL, I traveled across the country to meet my wife, right? Second, within that, I learned how to do things even when I didn't want to, even when I didn't want to get up, even when I didn't see why. I just knew that I was doing building blocks. And sometimes when people, especially entrepreneurs, those entrepreneurs out there, the building blocks, nobody sees you building. Everybody wants to see the glitz and the glamour at the end. but nobody sees what you truly did to get there. So just make sure that you know that you get a great mentor, put them on your side. And we talk about the 5 F's: your faith, your family, finance, fitness, and then you don't need a mentor for fun. But I really put my faith together. Shout out to my pastor, Pastor Hodge, Fredo Hodge, Apostle Hodge. I'm sorry. And with that, he put me on the right track, gave me a routine, a regimen. And in the mornings, I try to do that as much as possible. I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but when you're following somebody that's anointed and gifted, you're under that cloth and that cloak. And I've been blessed. I've been blessed to be in their presence. He's got an amazing family, and we're over the couples connection through our church. And yes, we've had some great times in the industry. This is I've celebrated my 20th year within the industry this year, and God's been providing and providing and providing for a little boy from Danville, Illinois, that had a dream, and now I'm on the West Coast. I call it the best coast, but I couldn't do it without my family. I couldn't do it without my friends, and I believe that I was raised right. My mother, she really instilled in me never to quit.
Shout out to Mama Pat.
Right.
Let's
you can do anything that you want to do, no matter what somebody else says. And for the parents out there, make sure that you give your children critical thinking, not what to do and what not to do, but why to do it and how you did it. Because they'll listen to that and they'll expect somebody to tell them what to do versus think through it, figure out how to do it. And that's how my mother did for me. And that's what we're doing for our kids. There it is.
Well, look, so you said some very key things about, and really it's about the word pivot.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people get tunnel vision. And when there's an obstacle that comes in, the hardest thing for them to do is pivot. So you talked about one, I think everybody, the audience, we all understand what your original passion was, and that was football. When you talk about being on the court, yeah, man, Ivery used to hurt people. Be like, bro, you cannot take a charge with your shoulder into him. That's a tackle.
Hey, bro.
You can't do that. But how did you pivot your passion? And then how did having a routine? Now, listen, when I tell y'all this man had a routine, we were roommates.
Don't do
that
it.
season. And I promise you, at 5, when he said he was running at 5 o'clock in the morning, he was up at 4:30. But not only was he up, his music came on full blast. The whole house had to wake up because in his mind, if he had to get up and run, everybody else had to get up. So when I tell you the routine was real, but how did you transform that physical routine to a business routine? Talk about that type of discipline that you had to have, because the industry that you started off in and the company that you started off with wasn't well known to most people who look like us. So what type of discipline did it take as an entrepreneur to get that same type of success that you were looking for in football?
It's the same thing. As a matter of fact, if you look and talk to anybody that wants to hire someone, they want to hire somebody with integrity. They want to hire somebody that has a routine and a regimen. And it's no slight, but people want somebody that's been in the armed forces. Why? Because they've actually had to do something. And whether they liked it or not, they still got up and did it. Right. You want to have somebody that's been an ex-athlete. Like, these are some of the best people in the market right now. For us, for fraternities and sororities, you want to find somebody that's been a part of a fraternity and sorority, because sometimes you don't necessarily like what somebody else said, but you got to kind of go with it. Why? Because that's what the vote was. Right. So there's key components that leaves trails of success, no matter where you did it, no matter what level it was. But if you can actually do multiple things, that's why when you're trying to get into college, they want to see what else have you done. If you just get straight A's and you never went to a game, or you never did any type of something, nobody wants you. Everybody wants people that can do multiple things at once, because that's real life. So you talked about pivot. Man, my life was a pivot every day. Like, honestly, I didn't know I was good in football because my mother never let me play. I had to like sign her name my freshman year because she wanted me to play in the band. I was trombone, man. My guy, the instructor.
It's always about the tuba, baby.
Trombone, baby, trombone. So he wanted me to come off at halftime and do the marching band. My coach was like, "Nah, I'm a freshman starting as on varsity." So something sparked, and I figured it out. And I was that crazy kid that would be so frustrated. Everybody else got to play football and not me. I don't know what happened. My mother may have saw some stuff back down south when she was a kid. She was like, "My son will never play football." But football got me across the country, and football got me into a place where I was a team captain. I was able to do certain things, and sometimes I say stuff very loudly for no reason at all, other than thinking that I'm still on the field. And you know, my motto: whenever I come into my house, if I can say "ow, ow," or if I can say something like that to a fraternity member I barely know, I better say it to my family. So I'm coming in, cheering their names, acting like they're the greatest thing next to sliced bread. So when they see Daddy, they know it's coming. I'm just loud. So
hey, I remember when we talked about that, and like that's kind of how our podcast, University of Man, got developed. Because we would have some conversations, we'd be like, "Man, we should have recorded that." But I remember we hadn't seen each other maybe for a couple of weeks, months, whatever it was. It was like, "Ow, ow, what up, fat woo?" And it's like, man, why we don't get that excited when we see our kids? Like people do that. They come home and hey, what's up? Like my daughters still look at me crazy when I be like, "What's going on?" Because my daughter's now 23 and 18. They just be like, "Dad, why are you so loud?" Because I need them to know I'm excited about seeing them. I'm excited about the relationship that we have. They kind of got used to it, but when they were little, oh my God, the house used to go up. Daddy on, and that's the thing. But being able to pivot and being one of the greats, we both have had some times in our life where we fail, but being able to get back up and continue on and pivot because, and I think the other key component is what you said about football was you knew when it was time to change because you had given your all. You had chased the dream literally all across the country. And you got to the pinnacle of, all right, I'm at the point where it's either going to make or break. But after it didn't happen, you said, okay, you could feel confident in yourself because you gave it your all. Some of us have quit something right before we were getting ready to get into that success. And the Bible clearly says, don't get weary in well doing because you will win if you faint not.
Yeah.
So some people will say, well, did you consider Ivery fainting? No, he went to the depths of football.
I had a college degree staying in my car, homeless, to make it to the NFL.
Yes.
In California. Yes, I said that. This is the first time I publicly said it. I had a college degree, man. I was sitting on a degree knowing that I could go do something else, but I really wanted to just hone in on that because something deep down inside of me told me if I had a father figure, if I had somebody that was a mentor that kind of did this before me, I probably could have made it. Probably could have. I really think I could have. But I didn't. And I figured out the light bulb came on too late almost. I was just happy to be in college. And then my freshman year, like you talked about, I realized I belonged there. And no disrespect to anybody else that was on the team. I think we had a phenomenal team. My football team was like number 9 in the nation as far as defense. And, you know, all they wanted to do was just practice, get it done with. But I had a point to prove. And I only knew one speed that was fast, just go. And they didn't.
That's why I said you were terrorizing them in practice.
But yeah, I mean, I wasn't. I had that motor and I had that fire to get better. And the coaches saw that, and they actually probably pitted me against other people wrongly, and I got in trouble sometimes. But Going back to what I just said, I'm a stepping stone to other people. I'm not a coach because I saw something in coaching in college where I saw some of the coaches, some of the best people I thought, going through their fourth divorce, going on recruiting trips and whatever they were doing. And I was just like, man, I don't want to do that. I will never do that to my family nor my wife. So the reason why I'm not a coach is because I never want to be that far away from what I love. But I also have a lot to give. I've actually put different things in place where I can actually give to communities and kids and stuff like that. I got a thing that's a labor of love called Roster Bound, where we're looking to get kids into college, get kids, into high schools and different stuff like that, get scholarships, NIL deals. So that's huge for me. Now that's like my passion outlet. Obviously, this too, and being able to do stuff in the church, but giving back to my kids and giving them what I didn't have is probably one of the biggest feats I could say. So going through it, I didn't know what I was going through and why, but now I do, because I can whisper in my kid's ear and say, you will be the greatest only if you work hard. You're going to be the greatest of all time if you put the work in. Oh, you want to do this, then that, right? Nobody told me that. Everybody was like, I don't think it's going to work out. Oh, you did make it. Okay. Ooh, it was like, I surprised them and me, right? So what my kids will do won't surprise me. And if they don't make it, good. I really care less, as long as they went through the process, because now they can pass that on to anything that they do in life.
So I really think, because it's summertime, a lot of kids just got out of school, a lot of athletes are on break from college and things of that nature. And I've told a number of kids and time, you ask kids, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to go to the league. I want to play in the NBA. I want to play in the NFL. I want to play in the MLB. That's great. Summertime. And it's a break. And I remember in the summertime when you were on break, you still were up at 5 a.m. You still was going to the I was like, dude, man, we're out of school. What are you doing? But if you want to separate yourself from the pack, because let's be honest, there are a lot of athletes out there with a lot of talent. And I tell people, I tell my district manager this all the time. You have a ton of agents in your district that are smarter than me, that know more than me, but one thing they will never do is outwork me. And that's what I seen with, I played a little football in high school, but I realized, man, these dudes is getting big and I'm not. They getting faster and I'm not. I love the game, so I did what I needed to do to stay around the game, which is why I now announce football games and basketball games. That's part of my passion. But being able to recognize what you're good at, but also being able to separate yourself from the pack. Young man that I was talking to, I said, look, it's great that you got talent, but coaches are looking for somebody with character, integrity, and they're going to work out on their own. If you're the only time that you are doing a workout or practicing is at practice, I'm going to be maybe the first, second person to tell you you're not going to make it. Because when I seen, and literally this was part of the reason why I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be in running in the morning while everybody else is still asleep. I don't want to be in a weight room when it's 90 degrees outside and Ivery is literally pumping weight and I'm outside at the picnic kicking it. Nope, I don't want to give up my life like that. That's not what I want to do. But if you are really saying, I want to be one of the elite athletes, you got an example of somebody right here who was, we're talking about a Big Ten university. University of Illinois is not like nothing to sneeze at. Like, okay, we're playing the Michigans. Like, I remember when y'all played Michigan at the Big House and being on the field like, my God, this feels like the people are literally on top of you. You talk about Wisconsin's, the Ohio States, the Penn State that they got to play. This is crazy. Not like, I don't want people to gloss over that. You were at the pinnacle when it comes to college football. Yeah, in the Midwest at a Big Ten school, absolutely.
Hey, so if you can I tell you something though?
What's that?
It started when I was a kid, man. I go back to my mother working 2 jobs, me being the latchkey kid, and either I was gonna do something after school or I was just gonna come home and be bored. So I did something after school, and it was bred in me to like be better than everybody else. A shout out to my uncle Dave. He passed away this past year. Duntiel Alfred's uncle. He adopted me pretty much. So with my mother working 2 jobs, nobody came to my games, but they were like my adopted family. Like, think about this. You're the kid that's like in the newspapers and newspaper clippings. Oh, that's your son. That. I was like, Mom, you coming? And I knew she couldn't. I was like, you coming? No. She came to one of my games and I showed out, bro. I got a pick six, throwing like my aunt came, and I was like, I felt like the man. And it was just you wanted to show up for your family. But like I don't know how kids don't do this. Like ever since I was a kid, I was going to the YMCA. I was there at 8 a.m. all the way till like 9 at night. I would swim, play racquetball with the old guys, and they teach me how to do a little backspin, make it die in the corner, and like I was an OG when it was just one of those things. And maybe that's not what happens today. Maybe we don't have certain outlets like that for our children, but I was always on the go. And in football practice, we used to have what's called a swing around that practice field with the 3 football fields. I'd always be number one. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Nobody was going to beat me. They put a couple freshmen up against me, and they start laughing like he's not going to catch him. I just out endure everybody. So it starts when you're a kid. You got to compete. And if you don't like competing, I'm sorry, there's no participation trophies around it. You just got to do what you do.
That is the key right there. And I know people are, and we gotta, represent the kids. We are really damaging, in my opinion. I feel like we're damaging our kids with this participation trophy. Like in life, you don't get a participation trophy. You either win or you don't. And winning, like you said, doesn't start in the game. You don't win the game in the game. You win the game in practice. You win the game as a little kid when you put in that work. And I think for the parents, especially the fathers that are listening now, like Deion Sanders even said that. My mama couldn't come to my games. I was at the games so this is something that I wanted to do. Our kids got so much access to screen time, phones, tablets, TV, all of that, but they talking about they want to go to the league. You're setting them up for failure. And then I look at parents who are paying thousands of dollars for their kid to play travel ball, and the kid is not working out. You're wasting your money right now. It's cool that they're doing something, but like you could just send that kid to the park district. You're paying thousands of dollars for them to play a game that they don't really want to do.
You remember what we did with Patrick? I mean, during the pandemic, everybody was in the house chilling. Nah,
that dude was running hills.
We was running. I had him doing 5-mile hikes with me. We were running every day. My whole thing was you doing 10,000 steps as if you in school. I even had, like, at the time, I think Caleb was 3. He was running.
Yeah, I remember. I'm like, bro, don't kill my nephews.
He got out the pandemic and started playing basketball. This dude, like, he was faster than everybody. Why? Because he practiced. I wasn't going to let him not have, like, just sit that. No, we were, as a family, going out there. Even the wife. We all went out there. We did the hikes, and my wife was mad at me. I'm holding one son in one arm, dragging the other son. Like, we getting this in because that's just what we do. So I think that the dog was put in my oldest son. I think I'm probably going to have to do that with the youngest. He's going to be the biggest of everybody. We talked about his hands.
Man, that dude got paws. Like, you know how a puppy had those big paws when they small? You just know this puppy gonna get big. That boy got hands. So just listen, like, all of us have greatness in us.
Yes.
And the basis of this is whatever your dream is, chase it to the fullest. But if you find out that at the end, like, man, it just wasn't in the cards. You got to be able to pivot, because the skill sets that you learn with the routine, the discipline, the passion that you have for that dream, you can pivot that to another dream, another passion, and use those same goals, those same attributes to be successful and great in whatever it is that you got. And I'm not saying give up on your dream to be an athlete. Nope. If you're under 18 right now and you've heard this and you're like, man, I want to go to the league, go. Do whatever you. But if you're just sitting at home and everybody else is at practice and you like, come on, you got to get off the couch. You got to get out the refrigerator. You got to get out the, and I get it, but be honest with yourself. I had to be honest with myself. That ain't the lifestyle I want to live. And I was real with it. But for somebody like Ivery, who was like, no, this is what I want to do, he chased it. And I've chased some dreams too that didn't come out. But this is about you athletes. You are great men. You will be great men. Don't let the sport define you, though. Because even had Ivery made the league, let's say the average NFL career would be 4 to 6 years. Tom Brady anomaly. Okay. Yeah, because he had a great line blocking for him. He ain't had to get hit much. The positions that other skilled players play, there's a lot of wear and tear on your body. So the likelihood that you're going to be in the league for 10, 15 years is unlikely because of that wear and tear on your body. So you got to be able to even pivot after the league. And I think sometimes kids get tunnel vision about, I'm going to be a basketball player, I'm going to be a football player. That's great. Be that. But look at Jaylen Brown. After his basketball career is over, I guarantee you he's going to be somebody phenomenal in life. And basketball will just be another notch in his belt. This is something that I did. You're going to live much longer than your career in basketball, football, whatever sport you play. So be a great man. Be able to understand it wasn't a failure. You learn from it. Because I don't think you feel like your football career was a failure, do you?
Absolutely not. It was an adventure.
Adventure. Like, I never would think it was a failure. I mean, this dude played and D1 the University of Illinois, absolutely, and still got to try out for the NFL. So never was it a failure. It was an adventure. He learned a lot of lessons, and I don't think he would be the Ivery that he is today without those adventures. So with that, this is the University of Man. Let's get to it. Get on your grind, whatever your dream is, even if it's not sports. You may want to be a motivational speaker. How often are you practicing your speeches? How often are you reading? How often are you doing something else? Or are you watching ET on Instagram all day? Ooh. ET is great, but what are you doing to prepare yourself to be not ET, to be who you are? What are you doing to separate yourself from whatever your dream is? It's not too big. It's not too small. And I once heard somebody say, if your dreams don't scare you, it's not big enough. So that's what you get from me. I'm Fred. That's Ivery. Follow us on social media. Team Abernathy Financial, Ivery 40, University of Man. Subscribe, follow, tell somebody. We out.
Your knees get met by the pre-elegant old-fashioned man. Yeah, baby, I'm a classic man.
Wait. You're the University of Man. All right, man.
All right, bro. We talk.
Peace.